Hey everybody, welcome back to Disappointing Your Demons. My name is Ron, a grateful recovering alcoholic. Got a new phone, so if the angle or the camera seems a little different, that's why. I had to get a new phone, new phone plan, because the company that has service down in Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands is pretty terrible and costs a lot of money, a lot more than it should, and wouldn't let me switch over my number. So anyways, had to get a new phone. And it's, guess we got to preface everything with, again, I'm not a doctor or a medical professional or a psychologist or therapist of any kind. I'm just a drunk who likes to share his experience, strength, and hope with everybody. So do with that what you will. And it's been a while. I know it's been a while. And part of the reason it's been a while, other than you moving off the island and coming up here, and having all sorts of stuff to do above and beyond normal day-to-day shit, is because I kind of ran out of things to talk about. And, you know, I'm not the sciencey guy and, getting to the, nuts and bolts of why I'm an alcoholic or the effects of alcohol in the body and stuff like that. I just kind of talk about my experiences and what led me down the path that I went on, and to try to let you guys know that there is a way out. So, again, I've been struggling with that. On top of other things, but I think I've got a pretty good game plan now to start coming out with some new content on a regular basis. It's going to be kind of a mini series of sorts. I'm going to be calling it the Misadventures of Ron. Very, very inventive, well thought out title, because essentially that's what it is. They're all misadventures, but things have been going great, and I was talking in an AA meeting the other night, and kind of talking about how we generally eventually forget all the pain and the harm and the hurt and start to romanticize the things that we've done and refer to them as the good old days. It's a very, very odd thing, and I think it's a kind of a trauma response to everything that we've been through. But at the same time, I feel like if I tell these stories, it will be kind of a, yeah, they're funny, yeah, they're, they're humorous, and I don't want to romanticize them, but they're sad at the same time, because it's not stuff that normal people do. And maybe by telling it, some people can relate, but at the same time, if you hear me tell of the absolute dumb shit that I used to do when I was under the influence and drinking and actively using, then maybe it'll get through that, maybe you guys don't want to follow the same path, or, it'll make you reflect on some of the finer moments of your past and your addiction. They make you think that, I don't want to go back to doing that either. Because it's really dumb. But yeah, I mean, so the first one I'm going to tell, I'm going to try not to be too long on this one, because it was a pretty long introduction to this. But my, first misadventure that I'm going to relate. So, I mean, I started, like as I said before, started drinking at a fairly early age. First drink at 8 years old, when I had that glass of wine at Thanksgiving. And that's another thing too. I think I talked about it before, but just the fact that 40 years later I still remember my very, very, very first drink. That's pretty telling that I have a problem. And started actually like drinking a lot and on a regular basis at 13 years old. Started smoking pot at about 13 years old. Started having sex at about 13 years old. Like, I started doing like everything at 13 years old. It's weird. That was the number, but that was the number. Maybe I was 14 when I first had. Well, it doesn't matter. Anyway, But right off the rip, alcohol and drugs really started affecting my life in a negative way. You know, I started, fucking off in school. I would go to parties and things like that and be hungover in school. And I was in the automotive department, automotive shop at high school called Blue Hills Tech. And what I would do on days after a party, or go to a kegger in the woods, is I would go and lay under a car on a creeper, and I would kind of hang my hands up over the exhaust of a car and sleep, and or at least rest, and have people, when it came time to go to lunch or go to theory class, kind of give me a little kick to wake me up and stumble out from underneath the car and go do whatever it was I had to do. So yeah, right away, and it was it affected my grades for sure. It affected how hard I tried in school. I mean, I even related before that part of the reason I got into auto repairs because you could drink at work, and didn't matter how old I was. If I was working on a Saturday, 11 o'clock would roll around. I even worked in a shop where they would tap the keg at 11 o'clock in the morning, and they'd hand you a beer, and it wasn't uncommon for all of us to have beers on our toolboxes. Anyway, so that, immediately started affecting everything. I get in trouble with the law, and that brings me to my very first misadventure. And it was me and, I'm not going to name names, but it was me and four of my friends from school. And the way that my high school worked is that it was a regional vocational school. So there was, I think, like 9 different towns that went to this high school, that sent kids to go to this high school. And, I was from Milton. So we'd taken the bus home, and a few of us decided that we were going to go watch the girls' soccer team practice at the athletic field in Milton. So we all get off the bus, and we all wanted, and of course it's fucking Milton school property, so it wasn't like we could get in trouble with the school because we were out of school and we were going to a different school's athletic field to go watch the girls practice. And we all had beers in our backpacks, and so we all wandered down and we sat on the bleachers, and of course, for whatever dumbass reason, we just decided to start cracking beers right there on the athletic field, thinking that we were just all badass or something. I don't know. And so we're sitting there, we're joking, we're, catcalling, and, all the coaches are looking at us. And I don't know what the hell we thought was going to happen. But, we weren't, we thought we were cool. We weren't cool. And anyway, so sitting there, and I have a beer in my hand, and I have a few more in my backpack. And the other thing about my school is that, basically, as long as we weren't killing each other, they didn't really care what we did. And so having beers in our backpacks and whatever was not anything that we were any too worried about. So anyways, I'm sipping on a beer, and it's a particularly warm day, and it's like that transition between seasons. And anyhow, all of a sudden I hear behind me, like, hey, those look really good. I'd love a cold beer right about now. And my dumbass, I'm like, yeah, sure. Not even looking. I go into my backpack, I pick one out, and I'm all proud of myself, and I turn around, fuck, it's a cop. God damn it. And so the cop just looks at us. He's like, what are you guys doing? And we're just like, having a few beers, watching the girls' soccer team. And he's like, you freaking idiots, get down here. And this is also back in the, so this didn't happen this time. This is also back in the day when, just for example, another misadventure on a little aside. I was, that the cops, my dad knew all the cops in Milton and knew all the cops in Boston. And anyways, it was back in the days where I literally, sometimes would get the offer from the cops like, look, we can arrest you and bring you to the station and call your father and have him come bail you out. Or, and of course my brain, no, fuck that. My father would freaking kill me, like literally murder me. And the cop would be like, or, I can beat the crap out of you right now and send you on your way. Of course I'm taking the freaking beating. And, get home at night and my dad would be sitting there reading the paper and I'd be all scuffed up and roughed up and Dad would just put the paper down, pull his glasses down like this and be like, so, anything happened today? Anything you want to tell me about? No, Dad. No, I'm good. And he knew. The cop definitely called him. I mean, this is all before cell phones and shit, but they knew how to get a hold of my dad. And okay. Well, anyway, back to the story at hand. So, cop pulls us down. This isn't my first run-in with the cops by any stretch, but this is the first. Maybe not even the first one that involved alcohol, but this is the first one that I really started, like the whole started. It's the first one that I can remember being a really big problem. Anyway, so cop pulled us down. He's like, what are you doing? And he's like, what? So he's like, all right. And he goes, look, you guys don't even go to this school. We told him where school we went to. He's like, you guys don't even go to this school. But you're underage. You got beers. He's like, what am I going to do with you? So he's like, all right. He's like, patches all down as long as you don't have anything on you. Else, he goes, just going to probably just let you go. Whatever. So he's patting us down. Checks my book bag, finds more beers, makes me open them up, dump them out, checks the other kids, they all have their beers, all dumps them, makes them dump them all out. And then my other buddy, I see he's got his book bag behind him, and I'm like, oh, fuck. Fortunately, all I had on me was beers. I didn't have any weed or nothing, because that would have been a whole other set of charges, especially back in those days, if I had any pot on me or anything else on school, even on another school property. And so he searches us, and he's like, all right, you guys just gonna radio this in, but I'm just gonna, you guys can just go home. Well, anyways, fucking out of nowhere, in comes fucking Sergeant so-and-so, pops out of his car all like Billy Badass. And anybody who's watching that was from Milton in my time, they'll know exactly who I'm talking about. But he's a guy. He also was a motorcycle cop too. But anyway, comes out Billy Badass, puffing his chest out. What do we got here? Blah blah blah. Oh, here we go. Fucking this guy had to show up, and so they're talking back and forth, and he's like, I can kind of overhear him, and he's just basically saying, they're just kids with a bunch of beers, they're being idiots, and I was just going to let him walk home. He's like, all right, you search everybody, so it comes over Sergeant Badass, and he's like, you boys, blah, 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 and we're just about to get let go when the cop goes, wait a minute, and then search your backpack, and it was the kid, and I see the look on his face, and I'm like, oh, God damn it. So it searches his backpack, and what do you know, he has a fucking couple grams of coke on him. So the cop goes, well, now you're under arrest. Not to me, to the kid. I'm like, ah, fuck it. He's looking at us. He goes, he goes, I should arrest you all right now. He goes, but he's the only one that had anything on him. Like, you guys. He goes, so what I'm gonna do is you three are gonna get in my cruiser, and he's gonna go with Sergeant Badass, and he goes, we're gonna drop you off at your house. I'm like, oh That's even fucking worse. Shit. So, meanwhile, I got a buzz on too. So, I'm thinking I didn't have enough of a buzz on that I got mouthy, but I was close. I was close to saying something that I probably would have regretted, and I just said, "Fuck it, I'm just gonna keep my mouth shut." Thank God, because it was already on the verge of being a whole heap of shit. Because he could have arrested us for whatever, because we were with the kid. He doesn't know that we weren't fucking, whether we were or weren't, doing anything or snorting anything. So, shit, I lit the wrong cigarette. That's my wife's cigarette. It's not a menthol. Gross. So anyway, drives us to the house. Gets me to my house first. Thank fucking God my father wasn't home from work yet. Because if I got pulled up in a cruiser and he was home and he had to come out, I don't know what I probably wouldn't be here making this video right now, I'll tell you that much. I mean, the beating that I got later on anyways was bad enough, but if he had to be there and be embarrassed and come out of the house, that probably would have been the end of me. Anyway, pull up. I mean, it was bad enough. Pull up to the house in the cruiser, and my mom comes flying out. And this little woman, my mom is like all of like 5 foot nothing. I don't even think she's 5 foot. She's 5 foot nothing. Comes flying out of the house, fucking furious. What the fuck did he do now? The cop was just like, oh, all right. So the cop kind of laughed. He's like, told her what I did, and my mom just looks at me and she goes, "Are you fucking stupid?" She's like, "What is the matter with you?" And the cop's like, he was like, "He seems like he's a good kid. He's just getting in with the wrong crowd." Meanwhile, the cop doesn't even know that I'm usually the ringleader of this fucking bullshit. But anyway, got fucking the hell slapped out of me by my mother. Freaking get inside. My mom, even at, what was I, because I was still taking the bus, so I was like 15 years old maybe. Still taking the bus. So she gets me inside. She gives me a pretty good shellacking herself. And then she tells me the dreaded words that every kid hates. Is, "Get in your room. Wait till your father gets home." Fuck. So, get in my room, and I'm sitting there and I'm waiting, and it's like fucking, go walk into my room is like walking the Green Mile. Get in my room. I'm sitting there again. Time before cell phone, so I can't text nobody. I can't call nobody. Even if I had a cell phone at the time, my freaking mother probably would have broken it over my head. Not allowed to turn on the TV, not allowed to play video games or nothing, just sit there and wait. So I'm waiting and waiting and waiting. Then I hear my father get home, and I hear my mother say, doesn't even wait, and that's, I think, what pisses him off even more. Doesn't even wait for him to, like, literally get, like, his shoes off or anything like that. Just gets through the freaking door, and she goes, "You know what your son did?" And my father goes, "Oh, fuck, Claire, what did he do now?" And I hear her tell him, he's like, "He's fucking dead." I hear the stomping through the living room coming to my door. And he comes in, and he gives me one of the better beatings that I got in my teenage years. Gave me one of the better beatings that I got. "You ever do anything like that again, I'll fucking kill you. I'll break your hands." I was, Jesus Christ, Dad. Like, all right. And I never did that again. And part of what having a strict father like that did, is on top of being Sicilian, on top of all the other stuff, it made me actually very, very sneaky, very good at getting away with stuff, and very good at like not getting caught, because the beatings were one thing. Getting my ass kicked was one thing. Like, I can handle that. But there was times, like in my teenage, like when my dad would just sit down and he would just look at me with that look. And he'd just look and he'd say, you know what? I'm not even mad. Not even mad. I'm disappointed. And holy crap. I would rather catch the fucking beating. I would rather 100% catch the fucking beating than to have to hear my dad or see him look at me that way and tell me how disappointed he was in me. That was the soul killer right there. But yeah, and I got on top of the ass kicking, you know, then the getting grounded and everything. And the whole point of this is that, again, right off the rip, 15 years old, I'm doing stupid shit like that, and it's already affecting my life. And I look back on it, and yeah, you can say, you know, a lot of things like that's, you know, kids being kids, or you know, boys will be boys, and but that's just like kind of enabling. It's kind of enabling things. Like, that's not normal. That's not normal. You know, I know plenty of kids who didn't do that, who didn't drink like that, who, you know, if they were going to do it, you know, they would have a couple of beers at a party in the woods and call it a night and say they were good. Nope. Well, they wouldn't go to the fucking the town school's athletic field popping beers thinking that they were awesome, or thinking that they were like the coolest thing on the planet. So yeah, right off the rip, it started getting me in trouble. And it proceeded like that. It only got worse from there. It didn't get better. It really didn't get better. I mean, I got a million stories. I got a million stories like this one, and I'm gonna recount some of the better ones, or well, I shouldn't say better ones, some of the more memorable ones. But yeah, I'd be interested to know, like, from you guys watching this, like, what kind of trouble you guys got yourselves into, or what alcohol, you know, what kind of trouble alcohol immediately started, you know, inflicting on your life. Like, you know, I'd be really interested to know, because I know I'm not alone out there in this. And I know that not everybody who has, you know, everybody who's an alcoholic has, wait, how do I want to put this? That other people who aren't alcoholics do have similar stories. But I think what the difference is that after getting in trouble a couple of times, most people are like, fuck that. I don't want to freaking deal with this on a regular basis. Like, you know, if this is what alcohol is going to do, I'm going to go a different route. I'm going to do different things. I'm not going to let myself get in trouble because I want to drink so much. I don't know. Maybe not. But anyways, yeah. So in the comments, please definitely, you know, leave a story or a comment or whatever, whether you can relate to this or not. And also, I would like some comments with some suggestions for future videos, because again, like I said, I was kind of running out of ideas, or running out of things to talk about, and eventually I'll run out of stories, I suppose. So yeah, but if you made it this far, please, you know, give this a like, share it out. Again, these I don't want to romanticize this, because this is not good. This is not a path that I think that should be thought of as a good one to go down. But anyways, I guess that's all I got for tonight. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.